All right, I want to talk about two different types of what I call doom porn. This could also be called black pill material, black pill content. But they're like I've been asked a bunch of times by people, especially when I'm on some live deal. I get a question like, who do you like to listen to? Who's your favorite fellow dissident right commentator? Who do you like to read? Who do you like to listen to? And I always have a hard time answering that, because the so-called dissident right, I guess that's what we're calling ourselves now, I'll just use that term just as a helpful marker, not to indicate that I feel any particular kind of way about it. But it's my impression we're at a stage now where black pill content is everywhere. It just cannot be avoided amongst people who are DR, who are DRists. And so I always say, well, I like Morgoth. Morgoth always comes to mind to me because he's been nice to me, but also because I really think he's talented. And I don't know, I think there are a few others who are good, but I don't listen to a lot of it just because I don't want to be demoralized. And I think that a few years ago you could consume content like that and not be demoralized because the world wasn't yet in this. I mean, you didn't just step outside of your door in the morning and feel the doom pressing down on you the way that you do now, the way that you do, the way that you have over the past 5 or 6 years, let's say, or maybe longer than that, maybe the past 7 or 8 years. But it's gotten worse and worse, I would argue. So there are two types of doom porn, which is I'm going to call it that. I probably won't use that in the title, just because use of certain words, will lead me to be even more shadow banned than I already am. But the first type of doom porn that I would talk about is the more straightforward type of doom porn. We're fucked. We're so it's so over. Nothing we can do to change. It's just change anything. It's just things are bad. Things are only going to get worse, and thinking that you can do anything about it is a laughable fantasy. And these people laugh. They do laugh. They laugh. They think it's funny. That there's nothing you can do to make things better. Now that type of material, obviously, it should be obvious to you out there that this is the kind of material you should avoid, because this is the demoralization is just straightforward. It's just right there, baked into the cake of the entire message. But there's a more subtle type of doom porn I think is more insidious, and that is if we don't manage to turn this around, we've got a very small window of opportunity to turn this around, and if we don't manage to turn this around by X by X date, let's say usually people who are into trying to pressure you into voting talk a lot about this. You know, they say we still got time to turn this thing around if we can just elect Trump this year. Then it'll be okay. But if Trump loses in 2024, then all is lost forever. And then we've reached that point beyond which there is no return. And this is doom porn as well, because what in fact, and I'm saying this is more insidious because it's not absolutely clear from the forefront what they're selling you. What they're selling you is, unless something happens that's beyond your control, forgetting for a second whether Trump winning is going to turn everything around or not, forget it, or you know, if we can reverse mass immigration, whatever by whatever year, you know, before it reaches the point of no return, you know, before we cross that Rubicon, then maybe we can turn this around. But if not, then we're fucked. So the first type of doom porn is we're fucked already, nothing you can do about it. I guess enjoy the decline. You might as well enjoy the decline, because you can't do anything to stop the decline. You know, it's a mistake even to think you can, you know, form communities, because they're watching you all the time. And even if you go off and form your own community, if you go homesteading or doing if you go do whatever type of thing, do your own thing, then they're already 12 steps ahead of you, man. The deep state is already there. What you're thinking about doing today, the deep state knew you were going to do 5 years ago, because they are they have godlike powers. I'm not saying this. I'm saying the people who talk this way are saying this. But that's one kind of doom porn. And the other type of doom porn is, okay, well, we really need to. It's really important that, I don't know, something extraordinarily gay, like just show up and vote. You gotta vote. You gotta vote, man. It could be something completely lame like that, or it could be something a little bit less obvious, because we all know that. I mean, I hope everybody out there knows that whether you vote or not, your vote, your one, even if we don't have a system that's completely rigged, your one vote isn't going to change, you know, who the president becomes. If you voted or didn't vote, that's not going to affect the outcome of the overall election. Even if like I said, even if things aren't rigged, which of course they are. I think they are anyway. Or they might say, you know, unless we work to, you know, but if it gets to be 2026 and things are there's still mass immigration happening, then we're fucked. And all right, so I think you should avoid both of these, you know. And this is me just giving advice. Take it or leave it. You can, you know, you're a grown person, I'm guessing, if you're listening to me. You're probably a grown man. Maybe a couple of you are not men, but most of you are. You can do what you want and listen to what you want. And I'm just saying, I don't think it's good for you to listen to to people who have those kinds of messages, because both of them are, you know, both of them teach you learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is when you come to realize you have no power, right? In any significant way, you have no power. You're just you're at the mercy of the universe. And look, in some ways that's true, but in some ways that isn't true. And you should focus on the ways in which that isn't true. You know, you can choose to live your life in ways that defy the evil order of the predominant principalities, powers, thrones, and dominions. You always have the ability to live other in some way that is contrary to the way they want you to live. And you making that choice does mean something. It absolutely means something. It means you have, for one thing, you matter. So you making that choice to defy this evil and to try to live a good, normal, moral, healthy, spiritually enriched life, that has value in and of itself, but it also has value because no man is an island, and others will see you, and others will take inspiration from you. You may not think that's the case, but I can assure you that it is. I can assure you that the choices you make, the way in which you choose to live does have an influence over others. And if you choose to live in a way that inspires others, then you will take some people along with you. And you don't ever know who. You may think, I'm just a lone wolf, I don't have any friends, whatever. But you don't know the ripple effect. It's because it is true that even the smallest pebble that you throw into the pond has a ripple effect. You don't know how you end up influencing other people. It can be for the good or it can be for the bad. But act in a way that is for the good, and that will have an effect. And that's what you should focus on, not this, oh, we're going to win the election this year. Are they going to manage to turn things around by year X so that we avoid being completely inundated and losing our cultural identity completely? These aren't the questions you should concern yourself with, because those are questions those are issues that are out of your control. Focus on what you can control, because you can control things, and act in ways that are good and moral and responsible, and that defy this evil system. And don't concern yourself with like there's a passage in the Bible saying don't worry about how you're going to survive from day to day, because God will see to it that you'll survive. I would say something similar about stuff like this. Don't worry about this big macro stuff concerning the world, because God will see to it one way or another that justice prevails. And you've got to have that kind of faith, because if you don't have that kind of faith, then you really are you are at their mercy. And if you aren't a plant, if you aren't somebody sent to if you aren't a glowy sent to demoralize the dissident movement, then you might as well be, if you just choose to advance those kinds of ideas. Anyway, just a few thoughts. Take them or leave them. Thanks for watching.